All right. Yes, I am back in the home office here in Minneapolis. We got our guy back too, Lucky Shots Media, Ricky Larson. Football season is over, but of course, as you know, we like to talk UFC, so that'll kind of handle our appearances here throughout the offseason and big NFL news as it comes as well. But let's start with UFC 272. I'm going to be going live for it this Saturday. What, Ricky Larson, are you kind of looking forward to, looking at the most for this weekend's fights?
No, this is a weekend where, to me, as a person who's watched fighting for quite a long time, there's only really one fight on this card that I want to see. It's one of the ones where I'm like, I don't really want to buy it because I only want to see one fight. But it's a card where it's got a lot of young names, a lot of upcoming talent that you got to pay attention to, because you know how many people didn't want to watch Conor McGregor coming up or things like that. You never know who you're going to see, what's going to happen. And, you know, a lot of the times you look on the prelim, stuff like that. There's a lot of finishes, a lot of exciting fights. But obviously that main event, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. I mean, it's two guys that you expect this to just be a pissing match almost. You know, they just go out there and try to, you know, say I'm the bigger man and just beat the shit out of each other. So that should be fun. Masvidal, we haven't really seen a lot from him as of late. I mean, trying to think back to the last time we saw him, was it him getting knocked out by Kamaru?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. Like, Masvidal explodes onto the scene with the fastest knockout in UFC history, right? The flying knee against Askren, and we've kind of seen where Askren's gone to since then. You mentioned it. You know, I think he beat either Nate or Nick, and that was his last win for Masvidal, and he's lost back-to-back against Usman. Now, that's one of the toughest opponents you could face back-to-back, right? Obviously, Covington's had to run into that wall as well. So I'm kind of excited to kind of see just a different fight. You know, I've only seen you've been watching fights a lot longer than me. I've only seen Colby fight Usman twice and then beat up Woodley, who, like Askren, we've seen his trajectory here later in life. And then before that, he beat Robbie Lawler. So I'm kind of, you know, I'm ready to see kind of, you know, Colby and Jorge just like, whoa, you know, I didn't expect these two guys in the ring. And I was like, wait, all right, you know, that it's a nice kind of filler event. As you said, it's the name that draws you to buy the card this time around.
For sure. And I mean, it's two guys that have cut their teeth to get to where they're at, you know, so that'll be fun to watch. I expect Covington to come out on top. I think Masvidal is just a lot of hype, and I've seen him do one thing of like significance. And, you know, like you said, it's against Ben Askren, who's well out of the fight game now. Couldn't beat one of the Paul brothers in a fight. So, right. I mean, it's intriguing and it'll be fun to watch. Hopefully that match is fireworks and it's not one of those fights where you expect a lot and you don't get much in return. So hopefully that's a good fight. Got Rafael dos Anjos on the card. He's always exciting to watch, getting up there in age, but always an exciting fighter. And then I'm going to butcher this dude's name. Hanato Moicano?
Yeah.
I've watched him fight before. I just don't know how to pronounce his name. He's a hell of a fighter too. So
isn't this a short notice fight as well? I think someone stood in.
More than likely. It's a catch weight. So somebody's not in their weight class. They got to meet in the middle somewhere. But
well, what's going on there? I feel like it's the beginning of the new year for UFC. There's been a lot of fight cancellations. You know, is that normal to see? You know, whether it's kind of explain that to me.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got their big training camps. You know, it's a few months in preparation. A lot of things can go wrong. Somebody gets hurt, somebody gets sick. Especially now with COVID-19, that's obviously another big factor.
Right, but I feel like it's almost like we've had more cancellations now on the back end of the pandemic, which has been interesting.
Yeah, it's always been a thing in the fight game, and a lot of fighters will say, oh, they're just scared to fight me. They don't want to fight me. They're dodging. Who really knows why it happens? But most of the time it's injury, something like that. But for the guys who do step in, good on them.
Yeah.
Why not just step in, fight somebody that may be a little outside of what you would be able to get otherwise, and go make a name for yourself. I mean, we saw whoever that kid was that fought Sean O'Malley, he got his ass kicked, but what a hell of an impression he made just stepping in. So there's always that chance that can happen. I hate to see fighters pull out. At least it's not, a main event scale, title fight where we see that.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Masvidal pulled out of Leon Edwards' fight, and then he was apparently out of shape, rumors were, and then all of a sudden he, hey, it's not like he's picking up some slouch in Colby, right? But that was interesting. How did he think he was in for an easier battle here?
Probably more money. If we're being honest,
two big personalities.
Yeah, and it's something they could sell. I wonder if the BMF title will be on the line or some stupid shit like that.
Right.
Something to draw more press. Leon Edwards he's a fighter's fighter. And the biggest pull is Masvidal trying to trash talk.
Yeah.
With this fight, you got both guys spitting hate at each other as they do to everyone. And it's a firefight of words. And obviously that creates more publicity, more money, more pay-per-view buys. So more money in each guy's pocket.
Hey, they've got my money. And then Dana will just, give them 18% of it. So sell me on the rest of the card. I think it's interesting. As you said, it's a mix of veteran. How did they fucking sneak Greg Hardy on us again?
Yeah,
we have to pay
always.
Greg Hardy.
Always into that main card slot now. I mean, who knows if he's bringing his sidekick, the Inhaler, with him. You never know. I haven't heard of the other guy, and maybe he's going to be something fun to watch. But shit, I would pay money to see Greg Hardy get his ass kicked anytime, any day of the week. Other guys on there, Bryce Mitchell, I like watching him going up against Edson Barbosa, who's just a legend. Just look out for everything because he's so well-rounded. Kevin Holland, I don't know if I've heard of him, but going up against very old Alex Oliveira.
Holland's interesting to me. He's fought a lot in the last 2 years. That's where I've kind of, gotten to know him. And he's a prospect. He's been waiting to take, he's fighting a lot. So he's had some big wins. He's had some setbacks too. Good God. Yeah. And most recently, he ran into Brunson Vittori, back-to-back losses, and then had a no contest against Dawkins. So this dude just loves fighting.
Yeah. I mean, you said a prospect, and I'm sitting here looking at 28 fights. I mean, the guy is obviously one of those guys who's cut his teeth to get to where he's at, and now he's on the main card, gets to make some of that money.
He's 29, if you can believe it. But yeah,
well, and if we look at fighters towards the end of their 20s into their mid 30s is kind of that prime for them. So maybe he's not hit his stride yet. Maybe it's coming, and maybe this is one of those stepping stones on a main card of a big main event fight.
Yep.
Could draw some eyes. Looking at the undercard, man, I am so bad with names. Marina Moros. Watched her fight a couple times. She's an animal. Okay. I haven't watched the lady she's fighting, but if it just goes the way that a normal fight goes for Moros, it'll be fun to watch as well. A lot of names on here that I don't recognize. Tim Elliott on the very early prelims. Jessica I, what a drop for her.
Yeah, no kidding.
All the way down on the complete undercard. But like I said, this is a card where there's a lot of new names that you probably don't know who they are. You just got to watch, and one of them is going to make a memorable moment for you, and could be one of those next stars that makes a run over the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'm excited. Doing UFC 272 live from my place this weekend. College hoops, big sports week. We're of course in March Madness. Ricky Larson, Lucky Shots Media. Kind of want to get your overarching thoughts about this year in the UFC. What are we going to be looking for? Is it a McGregor return? I love watching Charles Oliveira. What's the next step there? Poirier. What is Jake Paul going to stir up some more headlines? What are we looking forward to in 2022 in the fight game?
I hope Dana just says fuck it and let's Jake Paul get into the octagon. I don't know what would happen.
Him Masvidal, maybe.
Yeah. Imagine he'd get his ass kicked, but I imagine it would bring in so much money. I mean, just look at all of the pay-per-view buys he always gets for those boxing matches. His brother, even. Yeah. I mean, it's a big money pull, and most of the people who are real UFC fans just want to see him get his ass kicked. Yeah. So go ahead and let it happen. There's a lot of fighters right now that you look at the heavyweight division. Who knows what's really going to happen there? You got, fuck me, I can't think of names right now. The heavyweight champion, Ngannou. You got him pulling an Aaron Rodgers right now, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You don't know what's going to happen there. So if he leaves, where does that leave the heavyweight division? It's pretty wide open. You know, you've got a lot of those top names, but you got other guys coming up the ranks. Tua Tuivasa. Yeah. Or Tai Tuivasa. Fuck, I love that guy. Got another knockout couple weeks ago. So I would love to see him somewhere up in the top there. Possibly a John Jones coming into that heavyweight division. If he can keep his nose out of the snow and keep the needles out of his ass. I mean, we'll see what happens there, but that'd be interesting. And maybe my own personal hope is it's the year of Sugar Sean O'Malley. I really hope we see a huge push of him, and hopefully by the end of the year, we see a title around his waist, which is not completely out of the question.
Sure.
He hasn't really been booked all that great. Like they book him with people that he should beat. I don't know if that's on his end, if that's on their end. Give him these big fights. Let's see it happen. He's a guy that'll sell pay-per-views as well because people just love that personality. Let's see a push for him. Trying to think. Is he?
Yes.
What is that whole situation going to be? Because he's just walking through the middleweight division. Discarded Robert Whittaker again. You really can't see him going up to light heavyweight because we saw that he's just not built for that. So who are they going to bring in? You know, it takes me back to times of GSP.
Right.
Who the hell is going to beat him? You bring in everyone and he just beats him. So eventually we'll see somebody come in, make some sort of play like that. I don't know. I don't see him being dethroned at all this year. I see him being an Anderson Silva and just kind of wiping all the way through that middleweight division for a couple of years until maybe he breaks his leg. Who knows?
These strangleholds on the belt, Usman, we all thought Nunez would never get, and then all of a sudden Juliana Pena comes out. Yes, as you called, watch out for her. It's kind of awesome to see her rise to now. She's sitting, she's dressing more nice. She's getting her bag, Pena. So I imagine she'll rematch Nunez, right? That's going to be a hell of a fucking rematch.
Probably. And then that begs the question of what do we do with Shevchenko?
Exactly.
She's in the same situation as Izzy is. So will we see her try to move around divisions and beat more people? Are they going to bring in somebody new?
Yeah.
And where's Amanda Nunes going to end up even halfway through this year? I mean, if we see the rematch and she wins, obviously we'll see a third. If she loses, where does that put her? Does she
deserve one? Right.
Does she hang it up? Does she try to swap divisions, which I don't see her doing because she started just getting burnt out of moving to different divisions to defend 2 different titles. Because if I'm not mistaken, she's still the champion of one of those divisions.
Featherweight. Yep.
Yeah. So maybe she just focuses on that and we see her kind of just make a run through there as well. Who knows? I would like to see that women's kind of jumble spread out and not just have her dominating 2 divisions, Shevchenko dominating 1.
Right.
Have Shevchenko in her division, fill that out, get more bodies in there, get the experience, and, you know, fill out each weight class like that, because it's really just a big mumbo jumbo of every woman is pretty much eligible for all 3.
Right. They're all expendable. Yeah,
yeah.
It's just running into a wall. It's so top heavy in especially the women's ranks. Good stuff. We'll get you out of here. What your passing thoughts on the Super Bowl? We haven't talked to you since then. Bengals cover, do not win. Rams get it done.
Yeah, it was kind of heartbreaking. I was pulling for the Bengals. I did put a lot of different bets on the Bengals, none of which hit because, first of all, they didn't win. Joe Burrow didn't get his passing yards.
Yep.
So many different things could have hit had he had maybe 3 more seconds to see that Jamar Chase had burned Jalen Ramsey. What the hell was Jalen Ramsey doing that entire game? Just awful. I mean, in his defense, that long touchdown at the beginning of the second half, shouldn't have happened. But either way, I was rooting for the Bengals, so I was like, "Fuck it, that's awesome. Go T Higgins." But you know, not disappointing. It was one of the more exciting Super Bowls I've seen. You had 50 Cent doing his best Spider-Man impression during the halftime show, so that was pretty interesting. But for my show for the rest of the summer, we're just gonna be kind of random sporadic things, do some tier lists, some, you know, build teams with $15, stuff like that. Just small little bonus content throughout the year, working on something for next season that I think is going to be pretty fun. Hopefully get more fan engagement. So we'll see. A lot of building right now, but
we'll get stuff. Yeah, no, I appreciated what you did all season, not only for us and our program here, but what you've done as well on your side. The graphics are fantastic. The information is great. You can expect weekly stuff during the season from our guy, Lucky Shots Media, Ricky Larson. And yeah, like you said, we'll talk football, free agency, draft, getting set for the big day. So, and then of course we always got UFC.
Yeah, got a lot of news to hash through once it happens for the NFL this offseason. So we'll see what goes. Hopefully the Broncos find a new quarterback that's not in the draft, but we'll see.
You're getting me on a tangent. Elway is all of a sudden back in the front office. Yeah, great. You know, right as they're about to be sold.
It'll be interesting to see what your Falcons do. Hopefully Cordell Patterson stays a part of that.
He says he loves Atlanta. Guys. I'm like, shit, come back. We could use you. Another weapon now that Ridley's fucking, you know, wherever he is. All right, good stuff. Ricky Larson, appreciate it, my man. We'll talk to you shortly.
For sure.